NHL regular season recap at night 64. We had 8 games tonight, the first of which was a surprise banger between the Blue Jackets and Toronto Maple Leafs. It's all Blue Jackets in the first period. Patrick Laine and Ken Johnson score in the first. In the second, Justin Danforth, Yegor Chinnikov, Johnny Gaudreau make it 5-0 after 2. But in the third, Nylander, Marner, McCabe, and 2 from Matthews in the last minute 30 tie the game at 5, and in typical Leafs fashion, we go to overtime where Kent Johnson scores the game winner for the Blue Jackets. It's a 6-5 final. Ilya Samsonov not good in this one. Elvis Merzlikins the better of the 2 goalies despite having a not-so-hot third period, giving up 5 goals on 21 shots there in particular, but overall 5 on 48, so not too shabby there. A wild 6-5 win for the Blue Jackets. The Capitals visiting Philadelphia, and the same player that scored the opening goal in this one would also score the shootout winner, and that was Bobby Brink. The Flyers win this one by a final of 4-3. Brink obviously opened the scoring in the second period. The Caps scored 2, though, to make it 2-1 headed to the third, where Joel Farabee, Dylan Strome, and Owen Tippett are the 3 goal scorers there. We force overtime at 3-3. Both goalies pretty good in this one. Lindgren stopping 29 of 32. Ersson stopping 27 of 30, both at a 900 or higher save percentage. In the shootout, though, again, Sean Couturier and TJ Oshie both score in the first. Nothing for Strome or Forster in the second. In the third round, Mantha gets stopped. Bobby Brink with the game winner. It's a 4-3 shootout win for Philadelphia. The Hurricanes taking on the Detroit Red Wings in what was a surprisingly low-scoring game. If I bet this game, I would have been hammering whatever the line was for the over, and I would have been losing money because Kochetkov gives up just 1, Ville Husso gives up just 2. It's a 2-1 final in favor of the Hurricanes. Goals from Drury, Rasmussen, and Jordan Staal. Kind of unfortunate on the game winner by Jordan Staal. Ville Husso comes out of his net after. Kochetkov also fumbles a goal into his own net, and Husso says, "Not so fast, I can do better." A freebie for Jordan Staal here, off a good forecheck, no less. But regardless, a 2-1 victory for the Hurricanes. Kochetkov stopping 25 of 26, so very good there. Husso also solid, stopping 37 of 39, but just not quite good enough. Team only getting 1 is hard to win the game. So 2-1 here for the Hurricanes. The Calgary Flames visiting the Minnesota Wild in what ended up being yet another shootout final here. This one in favor of Calgary, so they do get the point, but nonetheless, I'm getting a bit concerned for this team. They looked good for a stretch there, but recently they have just not been themselves. Meanwhile, Minnesota has again looked pretty solid since their hiring of the new coach. Not quite good enough over these stretch of games to get them into a playoff spot. They still have to be better, which is going to be tough, but they do get the 2 points in this one. In the first period, Matt Boldy opens the scoring. Second period, Yegor Sharangovich ties it on the power play. His 10th of the year already, having a pretty good season. In the third, Blake Holman scores a shorty, so keep these guys 5-on-5, otherwise you will lose. But the Wild do that pretty much the rest of the game. Marco Rossi ties it 5 minutes in with his 10th of the year, and then we get no further scoring until the shootout where Sharangovich and Zuccarello score in the first round. Nothing again until the fourth round where Matt Boldy ices it. It's a 3-2 shootout win for Minnesota. The Senators taking on the St. Louis Blues in their first game without Craig Berube. It goes pretty well for them. Robert Thomas especially had a fantastic game. He scores the first 2 goals in this one, throws an assist in there as well on the 4th goal. The other 2 goals from the Blues from Saad and Buchnevich on the power play, where Robert Thomas gets his other assist. For the Senators, it's Kubalik and Mateo Joseph with the 2 goals there. A 4-2 final. Jordan Bennington also very good, stopping 32 of 34. Korpisalo not quite good enough, stopping 26 of 30. The big story out of tonight, though, despite the win for St. Louis, is the booing of Jordan Kyrou after his comments from the firing of Craig Berube, or lack thereof, I guess, but kind of out of pocket, in my opinion, at least from the fans in St. Louis. It's one of your guys that's expected to be kind of the future of this team, and not really sure he deserves that treatment for not making comment, but that's just me. Nonetheless, a big win for the Blues, who needed one in a big way after a little skid. They're still in 5th in the Central, so not out of it by any means. This is a big win for them. The Tampa Bay Lightning visiting the Edmonton Oilers, and this game was hilarious. We're taking it period by period because that's the only way to break it down. So the first period, Tampa Bay gets outshot by Edmonton 15-7. However, Tampa scores the first 2 goals. Steven Stamkos on the power play. A lot of good movement here as usual. Kind of a broken play. The puck gets bumped out to Steven Stamkos. He rips a one-timer. You almost kind of want to save from Skinner on this one, but it's not the end of the world. And then Tyler Mott on a funky rebound play makes it 2-0 Tampa heading to the second period. So the second period rolls around, and the script is almost entirely flipped except for one thing. The shots. Edmonton outshoots Tampa 23-7 in the second period and scores 3 goals. Darnell Nurse with a shorty, and then McDavid and Hyman both on the power play. Hard to really blame Vasi on any of these. I guess you could say the Darnell Nurse goal that's shorthanded. a semi-breakaway, kind of bounces off his ribs and in, but other than that, it's really hard to blame Vasi on these. Nonetheless, the Oilers go into the third, now up 3-2, and out shooting Tampa by like a million. We head into the third period where, once again, the script flips aside from the same thing, the shots. Edmonton outshoots Tampa 19-10, making the final shots in the game 57-24. But on the goal sheet, Steven Stamkos opens it just under 7 minutes into the period. A shot that hits Stuart Skinner right in the chest. He can't hold the rebound. Stamkos with a nice bat in goal from a pretty sharp angle. It's impressive from Stamkos, but the rebound should never be there from Skinner. Later on in the period, Kucherov just making Cody Ceci look like a complete pylon. Stuffs it through Skinner's 5-hole. You kind of want to save on this one, but you also need your defenseman to just lay the guy on his ass. It's tough from both Ceci and Skinner, and now Tampa has the lead again. A couple minutes later, Steven Stamkos with a rocket from between the top of the circle and the blue line. Not really a screen or a deflection on this one, so despite it being a nice shot, you need a save here. A little over 3 minutes later, though, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does make it a one-goal game once again before two empty netters from the Lightning, one from Cirelli, and Steven Stamkos with his fourth goal of the game make it a 7-4 final in favor of Tampa Bay, who, again, despite getting outshot 24-57, win the game 7-4. Andrei Vasilevsky, fantastic, stopping 53 shots on those 57 Edmonton Oilers shots. For Stuart Skinner, not a great showing, stopping just 17-22, back to his early season form in this one. Nonetheless, it's a 7-4 victory for the Lightning, who needed one pretty badly, and Edmonton, of course, still trying to climb their way back in the Pacific. They're up to fourth for now, but needed these points too. The Panthers taking on the Vancouver Canucks in what was the night for Roberto Luongo being added to the Vancouver Ring of Honor, so a pretty cool ceremony before the game, but as always, one team always struggles out of the gate on nights like this, and tonight it was Florida. Andrei Kuzmenko with a beautiful goal to open the scoring in the first, followed by another by Dakota Joshua just under 10 minutes later, makes it 2-0 Canucks after one. In the second, Dakota Joshua with his second of the game, and Brock Besser with his 22nd of the season on the power play will make it 4-0 for Vancouver. No further goals in the third, so it's a 4-0 final in favor of the Canucks. Sergei Bobrovsky with a bit of a rough night. He only faced 17 shots and gave up 4 goals on those 17. For Demko, however, he was money. 36 of 36 for him, continuing his Vezina-level season. His third, I believe, shutout of the year. So a very good game from him. Solid from the Canucks defensively, despite giving up that many shots. It's a big 4-0 win for them, as they move into second in the Pacific. Florida, on the other hand, dropping to third in the Atlantic. Final game of the night, Chicago visiting Seattle. And if you had told me that 8 goals were going to get scored on 51 shots this game, I would expect it to be split pretty evenly between the two goalies. However, that's not the case. Arvid Soderblom gives up 7 on 24 shots, while Joey Decord gives up 1 on 22. Peter Mrazek did get some time in this one, but Soderblom did give up all 7 goals, 7-1 victory for Seattle. Kaylee Yamamoto with 2 goals, Bjorkstrand with a goal and 2 assists, Riker Evans with 2 assists. Some pretty balanced scoring here. A little bit concerning that Matty Beniers does not find the score sheet despite a 7-goal effort by his guys, but nonetheless, a dominant win for Seattle. Despite their struggles, you would probably expect this over the Chicago team, who's proven to be one of, if not the worst teams in the league, despite adding Connor Bedard this year. So a big win for them. Rough night for Soderblom. Good night for Decord. And that's it for NHL regular season recap night 64. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We have a decent sized Friday slate with 6 games, so we'll talk to you guys later for that.